Hey y'all, it's been a while since I did a video. Just been busy trying to keep up with the holidays, and a lot has happened. And I'm gonna try to do a better job of keeping up with these videos. But there's a pressing issue that I wanna hit right now, and that is how incredibly stupid the people that we have chosen to represent us in the federal government are. And I just lived the perfect example. Now, right now, I sit in Oceanside, New York, which is on Long Island. We're here on the island since about 2000, 2001. It's been a while. And drivers don't like to come over here because it's a nightmare. Um, but I got a load that pays really well, and it has money set in the rate just for the fact that I have to come over here. And if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't do it. So in my planning, when I got this load on Thursday, I picked it up down around Baltimore. And I knew there were tolls. I knew there were bridges. I knew there were route issues. I knew this was going to be difficult, and it was going to take, every bit of my experience and skill to get through this. So I started with my map. Good old paper map. Here's the New York area, and it's like walking through a minefield. Okay, then I have a GPS system that is built into the Qualcomm in the truck, and it has truck-specific routing in it, and it's about 80%. I don't trust it fully because this company, whoever they are, they don't do a good job of updating the highways. So I have my iPad and I have my iPhone. Well, there again, those are not truck specific routings, and so I've got to be really careful, because the iPhone and the iPad, the Apple or Google, doesn't matter. They don't account for truck routes, low clearances, so on and so forth. So I picked a route, the best route I thought I could. First, I crossed the Gulfles Bridge, which was $75. Tomorrow, when I leave out of here, I'll either go. Well, no, I won't. I won't go back out the southern route because that was a nightmare. So I'll be going up either across the RFK Bridge or the Throgs Neck Bridge. Those will be $35. And then, depending on which way I go, where there'll be more tolls. But this GPS and low clearance issue came up in September when the U.S. Senator Chuck Schumer threw a hissy fit. And this came out in the Overdrive magazine, which is put out by the Owner-Operator Independent Driver Association. Basically what he's saying, here's the first paragraph. U.S. Senator Charles Schumer, Democrat from New York, is pushing for establishing national standards for truck global positioning system devices, citing research indicating a high percentage of trucks hitting low bridges in his home state because of GPS issues. Okay, I've already established that the truck-specific GPS I have isn't all that reliable. The Google and the Apple maps, you know that ahead of time. And then there's the good old-fashioned paper map, which does a pretty good job, but not always. So let's talk about this trip. My plan was based off of the paper map, looking at a PDF map that I downloaded from the New York State website, and what other information I could gather. I was going to come in the south end on I-278, cross the Gulfles Bridge, run that up to the Long Island Expressway, which is I-495, carry that over to 678, run it south to the RFK Airport, or JFK Airport, sorry, and then go east on 27, bring that over here. Okay, so in my map, my paper map, you're probably not going to be able to see this very well, but I'll try. Okay, so here's New York City. This is the whole of New York City. This is New Jersey. Here's 278. There's the Goethals Bridge, $75 to cross. Up 278, $495. Down 678, there's JFK. And over here, and then right here in Oceanside is where I am. Well, the first problem that I ran into was there's a low clearance on 278, and you don't know anything about it until you're right on top of it, and it dumps you off on Atlantic Avenue. So I run Atlantic Avenue, and then the GPS wants to put me off on another street. Well, I pull up the PDF from New York, and what the GPS wants to put me on New York says it isn't a truck route. But it does say Atlantic is a truck route all the way through to Conduit Avenue, all the way to Sunrise Highway, which is Highway 27. So I ignore the truck GPS, and boom, I come up on a 12-foot one clearance. There's no way out. Can't turn around. It's right where the road drops down as I guess it's the subway or some kind of metro train system. And I look and I get out my flashlight and I'm like shining my flashlight and I watched a bus go under it and I'm like, well, there's only one thing to do. It's just try it. So I creep down there. It's 15 foot tall. The 12-1 is underneath the metro rail. Okay, so I go on. Well, then the GPS picks up and it's back on with me. I'm like, all right, good. Well, then it tries to put me off again. And I look ahead of me and I'm trying to, make a judgment, and there's a 12-11. Well, I get up to it. I roll right under it. I'm 13-6. That's 2. Then I come up on a third one. It's marked 12-7. So I put on my four-way flashers and I stop, and I'm in front of a gas station. I look over and there's a guy at a full-serve gas station pumping gas, and he's obviously seen this, and he starts giving me this number, and so I shoved it in gear. Well, and I went under it again. 13.6 goes under 12.7. There is give me a second to find this. Okay, they recommend, talking about the study, referenced NYDOT research that indicated most New York truck bridge strikes result because GPS did not indicate truckers were on a non-truck route. Okay, I'll give you that. They recommend prohibiting truckers using consumer GPS system and hiking fines for truckers on non-truck routes. Okay, here's where I'm getting pissed off. You want to go up and throw a hissy fit and talk about how everybody's got to be fined and all this stuff. And in getting from New Jersey to here literally was like going through a minefield. I'm running down the road. I've got the window down. I've got 3 different GPS going. I've got a map. I've got a PDF file pulled up on my iPad. Getting over here is like going through a minefield. Because no trucks allowed. Trucks this way. Trucks that way. Then I've got to reroute. I bet you I pushed reroute on my GPS about 30 times from crossing out of New Jersey till I got to here on Long Island. Because everywhere it would tell me to go, no trucks. All trucks this way. And then I'd go that way. And then I'd get to another place. Oh, no trucks here. Go that way. Well, it was a low bridge. Well, the bridge isn't low because I went right under it. So Senator Schumer, you idiot, you moron, you jackass, before you start hiking fines for truckers, why don't you fix the signs in your own stupid state? How about starting there for a change, you idiot? Look, if you're a truck driver, okay, and you drive one of these things for a living, and you go by a consumer GPS built for a car and you run into a bridge, you're an idiot. Okay? But here I have an iPad, an iPhone, a truck GPS, a paper map, and a map I downloaded from the state of New York itself. And still couldn't get here. And you wonder, they're paying me $1,200 to carry this load 240 miles. And let me promise you, I earned every penny of it. Now, wait a minute. I got paid $1,200 to go 240 miles. If I was a company driver, I would have got 35 cents a mile for that. Well, that must be unfair. No, it's not unfair. I engaged in a free marketplace, negotiated a rate to do a job, and I did it. If I did this every day, I'd end up in a nut house. But if I did this every day and made $1,200 a day, which would be, $300,000 or $400,000 a year, then I would have a bunch of you pinheads running around, well, you ought to take half his money. You ought to take 80% of his money. You ought to take 90% of his money. No, you shouldn't, because you didn't earn it. I did. I drove it. I shifted it. I turned the wheel. I pressed the brake. It's mine. For me and my family. If you want some of it, go get you a truck, go get you a trailer, go negotiate you a rate and haul some freight. But until then, suck it. This is the root of the problem. We've got all this envy. Everybody's mad. Oh, that guy made more money than I did. Well, I promise you that I work for every dime that I make. I spend 300 and some days away from my family on the road, from my children and from my wife, for money. There's no other reason. I don't have some noble goal of how I'm going to, come out here and benefit society by engaging in activity to, blah, blah, blah. I don't care. I just brought a big stack of crap for a new T-Mobile store. Okay? I don't care. I'm here for the money. I'm here for the profit. Period. End of story. And then I get to deal with these morons like Chuck Schumer who come up with this crap. Well, it's the GPS's fault. No, Chuck, it's your fault. God, I got to quit. I'm going to have to take a blood pressure pill. So I'm back. I'm going to start doing videos more often because I can't keep blowing up like this. But I tell you what, the stupidity that we've got to deal with in this country is at an all-time high. Or maybe it's not. Maybe people have just always been this stupid, and now we just get to shine a spotlight on it. But other than that, I'm done. I'll see you next time.